Well, we're rolling right along. Too early in the season? Well, forget about it. Hey, welcome back to Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com. Well, we're donning the actual lab coat. That can only mean one thing: Garage Ed. And you know this season's going to be phenomenal on Garage Ed. We're talking about suspension, from tires all the way to electronic suspension. And we got the perfect specimen right there. We have our Challenger RT, which has all kinds of suspension on it, so we'll be able to look at it in action. Where do we start? Well, tires, of course. Let's talk a little bit about tires and tire construction. What do they do? Why do we have them? Well, first off, they actually support the vehicle weight. That's important. And they cushion the ride. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But most important is actually traction. You want to make sure you have good traction in wet and dry surfaces. Now, the construction of the tire, well, we got it right here on the screen. You can look at the graphic right here. Where does it all start? Right up there in the tread area. Now, the tread area comes down to the actual sidewall of the tire. And then underneath there you have a few belts. Depending on the construction of the tire, you could have a belted tire, you could have a belted bias ply, and you can have a radial tire. There's different types. You can see it down there. It comes all the way down to the bead, and then under there there's a little membrane that keeps your air inside of the tire. That's the little area inside the tire there. Now I have one right here that's a cutaway. This is the actual tread wear that goes across the top of the tire. Right here, this is the steel belts. Now the steel belts go across the top and reinforce the tire. This is a radial tire. And if you look on the side, this is cool, it's cut away. You can actually see the tire coming down right here, and then there's the little bead lock that goes onto your rim right there. So you got the different types of construction of the tire. Now let's take a look at the tire numbers. Look at this right here. P215, 65, R15, 89H. Say what? Well, every digit in that and every letter actually means something. This is pretty cool. We'll break it down for you. The P, if you look at the P right there, well, that's a passenger tire. You can have a T for temporary, LT is a light truck, and C is a commercial tire. Then you get to that 215. Well, that's just section width in millimeters. It goes across the top of the tire. Millimeters, that's the bigger the number, the wider the tire is. The 65, well, that's the aspect ratio. That's actually the height divided by the width. We'll take a look at that in a second as well. And then you have the R, which stands for radial, 15, which is an old tire. Now they're 22s, 32s, 44s. Man, they just keep going up. That's the rim diameter. And then the load index is the 89, and the H is the speed symbol. The lower you get in the alphabet, you start getting down to Z. Now they have ZR and even more. The higher the rated tire is for speed. That makes a big difference. That's called the P-metric style. Now, you had an alphanumeric years ago. You can see this one right here. The alphanumeric, well, that's your old school tire. That's your, maybe even your trailer tires today. You got the F as the load rating, the R was just the radial construction, and there's that aspect ratio again, that 70, that's the width and the height, and then you can see the 14, the rim diameter. Now to talk about that aspect ratio, take a look down here. Here's what's happened with tires. Now, the one over here, you got a 70 series tire, that has a lot of sidewall. That cushioned a lot of the ride on the vehicle. Then we went to handling and performance tires. You can see the 45 series tire right there made a big difference. It's a lot lower profile, it handles much better, but we're compromising the suspension. We don't have that cushion. We don't have that ability to actually cushion the ride as we go along. So the suspension is going to take the grunt of the work, and that's fine because this Garage Ed is all about suspension. A couple more types of tires. You may have this Pax. Now this Pax was on a couple of years. You guys, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. It's inside of the rim. You need special tools to do it. If you got this, I'll tell you what, get rid of it. Forget about it, all right? Or you could have a run flat tire. The actual run flat tire has actually got the stiff sidewalls on there, and that's going to hold the tire up. Now when it comes to tire service, super important. You want to make sure that you have good air pressure inside your tire, make sure that's right, and you can also check the tread depth. The tread depth of the tire is going to make a big difference on tire wear and tire patterns. And guess what? No worries. We got you covered this season because our local expert is right back there on the Challenger doing it right now.
John, I don't know about expert, but I am local, so at least I fit half the bill. And when you start doing anything on your car underneath or here on the tires, you want to do a visual inspection. It's super simple. Just take a look around the tire, look all the way around the outside on the tread, see if you see anything unusual. You might see some unusual wear. You might see something sticking in the tire, a nail or a screw or something like that. You also can check for different wear patterns and some of the belts might actually be sticking out if your tire is worn enough, and those are obviously reasons you want to change your tires. Assuming you've done the visual inspection and everything looks good, now's the time to check our tire depth. And 7 years ago, this was the way to do it here. Take old Abe Lincoln on your penny, and I'm doing this in honor of my little boy Lincoln at home, by the way. Hi, Lincoln. And you put old Abe right there into your tire. And if you see Abe's head, that means your tire is in need of replacing. But we can see here we are firmly buried inside the groove of the tire, so no need to replace it. If you want to get a little more scientific, you go to rockauto.com and get a tire depth gauge like this one. This is an analog gauge, and you just pull it all the way out, insert it in the groove of the tire, and it will give you a reading right here. We're looking at 30 of an inch. And we're about at 9/32 of an inch. That is plenty. If you get down to 3/32 of an inch, that's time to replace your tires. RockAuto.com also has digital tire depth gauges like this one. Same process. You zero it out and you insert it in the tire. It'll give you the same kind of reading, only in a digital format. One other thing you want to do with your tires is check your air pressure. Now, you can look on the tire itself and you can see the air pressure actually written on the tire, but you want to look at the placard inside your driver's side door. That'll give you the proper pressure that you're supposed to be running on your tire. Now, you've probably seen this at the gas station. Just put this on the tire and you look, and we're about at 30. We're supposed to be running 32, so we're just fine. Add a couple of pounds if it makes you feel better. And that is all there is to it with tire wear and tire air pressure. When we come back, we're going to take a look at engine diagnostics, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Tech Garage presented by RockAuto.com.
Well, I hope you're enjoying this episode of Tech Garage, but what you might not know, we have a sister show called Motorhead Garage. You could have seen me on there years past. I'm missing it, but Dave, what a phenomenal show that is as well.
Well, John comes back and guest hosts every once in a while. But at Motorhead Garage, we do what a lot of other folks don't do. They're building cars and everything. We're showing you the coolest products for your car, for your truck, anything that goes, we have it at Motorhead Garage.
Man, I got my DVR set. I'm watching it every Sunday morning. Join me and watch Motorhead Garage. Dave does a phenomenal job. What a great informational show with some great products.